If it hurts, you ain't the brakes, no gates, you know let us put on more speed. Protect our kickers, our quarterback, our lead, our ball game. All obstacles, block, cut, sides, through the games after this win in. Press you again, we're here for the first minute. Carry my team there 6 minutes.
Yeah, I didn't sign any mustard bottles or golf balls. Maybe wish I had a golf ball that night, you know what I mean? But I'm only kidding. All right.
We've got to raise the bar, and we've got to continue to raise the bar. I don't think any of those young men, when they signed to come to Tennessee, they signed to say they wanted to come and be a part of a 7-6 program. All right, they said they wanted to come and compete for championships, SEC championships, national championships. I know that's what I want. I know that's what Tennessee wants. I know that's what the expectation is. So we've got to continue to reassess everything that we're doing and make sure that we're continuing to move the needle in the right direction.
I mean, Peyton Manning said it best year one when we got here. He looked at Coach Heupel and he goes, man, you know, if the Colts lose, I'm all right. If the Broncos lose, I'm good. He goes, but if the Vols lose on Saturday, it hurts my soul. And there's a lot of other people. There's 103,000 people every Saturday who will say the same thing, and there's probably 1 million more watching at home. So it's important here, and those guys feel that.
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley.
And I'm Coach Jay. It's your boy X.
And your very upset, sad, and lonely boy BBD.
Got a lot to talk about, boys. I'm pissed off. I'm angry. I'm upset. I'm frustrated. Look, we had a lot of concerns going into this game, and some of those have kind of been concerned. We're going to talk more about it. Is their season over? There's people on social media saying, are you ready to fire Josh Heupel? There are people that are ready to bench Joe Milton. Everybody is pissed off. Everybody's upset. You know, I get it. Like one of the things that I don't want to say I like about the channel, but that's good about the channel is after a loss, you want somebody to talk to about it, and that's what we're here to do. This is Vol Therapy. We're going to get through this together. We're going to hit every one of your opinions. We're going to run down everything that you guys are pissed off and angry about, and we're going to see if we can come out of this thing with some sense of, understanding of what happened. But let's right out of the gate, Coach, what are your opening thoughts on tonight's loss against Florida?
It's a huge steaming turd. There's no way to sugarcoat it, guys. Hey, listen, I sat on this channel last week, and I stand by everything. Like, I'm not going to judge a team ever when it's a team, like Austin Peay. Ever. Tennessee will be judged on its play throughout the SEC, throughout the season. is what I said. And based off this first game, they shot a giant, huge, stinking turd out on that field. It starts at the leadership position with Joe Milton, turd, Turnage, turd, Crawford, turd, Ollie Lane, giant turd,
Oh my gosh.
Haddon, turd, Martinez, turd, Warren, turd, McDonald, turd. Defensive scheme in the first half was one of the worst, most bullcrap defensive schemes I've seen in a long time out of Tim Banks, guys. I only got 60 seconds, so I'm going to leave a lot out of this, but just know Coach Jay is not accepting this. And the biggest dang turd of all over Milton or anything is the tackling in the back end. Absolutely unacceptable tackling in the back end. As a matter of fact, don't bring your shoulder pads to practice on Monday, defensive back end. Don't bring crap, because we just hit in that weight room, that gym, that track. You're going to sweat your ass off, and then we're going to tackle all day on Tuesday, period. That's it. Done.
X, I know this is your game. So, man, awful start. You get a little false hope in the second half. What are your thoughts after this loss?
Well, it is what it is, man. Like I said, an L is an L. Overall, like I said, I thought we started out great. I was like, okay, first drive, like saying, look, Tutty, like no problem, right? It's just Tennessee just could not get in rhythm, dude. They just, like I said, the penalties was just really, really eating at us. But just not even just the penalties, just everybody, like Coach Jay just said, everybody just played like crap. Like you said, it starts at the leadership position. Like Joe Milton, you were supposed to go down and make a statement. I don't know what you were saying in that team's players meeting last week after Austin P, but it sure as heck was like, no, guys, we're just going to go down to Gainesville and take a L. No, they should have came in, had a game plan, and executed it. Did not execute it as well. But, yeah, I'm very, very disappointed with it overall. Like saying offense and defense, like what Coach was saying, just poor piss tackling, not wrapping up. Like we talked about in one of the previous streams, like what do they teach you in football to do? You got to tackle. And they failed to do that. And then, of course, we'll get into, more of the penalties and the refs. And, I mean, we'll get into all that a little later. But just overall, just pretty pissed off performance. It is what it is, man. And that's just all I got to say about that.
BBD, what are your thoughts? Opening thoughts.
I'm sitting here listening to Coach Jay and X Factor talk. And I told everybody on my stream, yes, I streamed the game. Had a good time, even in defeat. But I told myself with about 4 minutes left in the game, I said, you know what? I'm never going to get mad at another football game as long as I live. Because it's stupid. Let me tell you what else is stupid. Any Tennessee football player out there throwing punches at the end of the game, that was stupid. Heupel called a timeout, right, with 9 seconds left.
Yeah, I'd already turned the TV off, and Coach
I thought that was
throwing
stupid.
punches. They're throwing punches.
I mean, that was Bush League, in my opinion. I'm not saying fire Heupel or any retarded shit like that. Excuse my language. Didn't mean to say the word Heupel. I just
off the rails already.
Okay, here we go. I don't get it. I don't get it how we played like that. But some of us were trying to tell everybody for weeks and months, this could happen in the swamp. Call it battered ball syndrome. Call it Tennessee shits their pants when they see the Gators helmet. Call it whatever you want. But when we go down there to play and that crowd gets rocking, something happens. Mm-hmm. Hey, we scored a touchdown right out of the gate to go up 7-0. Nobody was happier than me. But when they didn't throw a flag on that first Dante Thornton play where he was grabbing him and dragging him all the way down the field, where he was holding his jersey, you know the one I'm talking about, right? Mm. I literally about lost my mind. My head still hurts from that. Anyway, you guys go. I'll sit here and listen for a little bit. I'm really just trying not to be mad.
I am mad. I'm pissed. I'm frustrated. I'm irritated. I'm concerned. I've been concerned all week. I've been concerned ever since I saw the Austin P game. We You know, we've talked about it all week long to the point that people said, Boogie, I'm sick and tired of hearing about Austin Peay. Can we please look ahead to Florida? And I kept saying I'm concerned because I have seen big red flags on the football field that concern me. And people tell me to shut up and move on and talk about something else. Well, now we got more red flags to talk about. We got a bunch of them. And, you know, we talked about going into this game, what Florida would we get? You know, the Florida that kind of shot themselves in the foot against Utah. And we talked about Tennessee starting fast and how Florida would get up and leave. That's what I said. You shut them up early and they're going to get up and leave. Florida came out right out of the gate and immediately shot themselves in the foot. False start. They had a holding call. Then they go down and they miss a 46-yard field goal. Tennessee answers. They kind of get Joe Milton in a groove early. They go right down the field, 11-yard fade to Ramel Keaton for a touchdown. Tennessee's on top, 7-0. I'm cheersing myself down here in the office like Steve Austin.
Perfect start.
Everything is great. But then it got weird, man. The pacing of the game. You know, we talk about getting in a rhythm and all that stuff. Florida controlled the clock the entire first half, and I get it. You know, Tennessee's always going to they're going to have less plays. It is what it is. Josh Heupel goes fast. Time of possession, we get it. It's always going to be that way, but it was really bad. 9 minutes to play in the first half. Tennessee had ran 12 plays on offense. They ended up running 22 total plays in the first half. And credit Florida. Credit is due where credit is due. Florida came out. I thought Graham Mertz played way better than I ever imagined, stretching the plays with his feet, getting guys open. He played a good football game. Florida's drives, they had that missed field goal, but they still 14 plays, 7.5 minutes. And then they followed it up with 4 straight touchdown drives. 4 plays, 75 yards. 14 plays, 82 yards. Short field, 3 plays, 9 yards. 7 plays, 55 yards. Kind of a weird first half. Here's the deal, guys. We got almost 1,400 people watching live. Appreciate you guys tuning in to us. Look, I get it. It's therapy. You guys are pissed. We're pissed. We're going to get through it all. We're going to talk about it all. Let me hit the super chats. You guys are being very generous. I want to make sure we get all of your opinions, and then we're going to kind of come back to the conversation, and we're going to bounce back and forth. We will stay live all night long if that's what we have to do. Daddy Trey for $20. That ain't cheap. Appreciate the super chat. Says, Milton just ain't it, boys. I've tried so hard to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I just can't do it. Believe me, we're going to talk a lot about Joe. And I told you guys, and I shoot straight on this channel. I don't sugarcoat it. I'm not a sunshine pumper. I'm not a negaval. I give my opinion. If you don't like it, that's fine. I'm still going to stay true to what I believe. I may even argue with the 3 of these guys tonight. We're going to find out. We're going to talk about Joe Milton. Don't you worry, Daddy Trey. Chris for $20. Again, very generous. Thank you so much for that. Says, same thing, doubling down. Joe is not the guy. He can't process the defensive alignments fast enough. The game has never slowed down for him. Ollie Lane is causing the whole offensive line to be abysmal. One wide receiver that's a different maker, and that's Squirrel. Thank you, Chris. $20. Very generous. Nate Pruitt for $2. I've never turned off a UT game. Tonight it happened. Don't be that guy, man. Let's ride with this team. Ride or die. Always. Never turn off a game. Culberson for $5. We deserve to lose that one, but damn, hate to see the refs that involve some key no calls. Overall sloppy both sides of the ball. Agree with that, Culberson. Thank you for the $5. Dylan Elam for $5. The recipe is there, but the ingredients are rotten. Nico for UTSA. Pie Man for $2. 20 of 34, 287, 2 touchdowns isn't horrible. Discipline is the problem, Pie Man says. Will Murley for 10. Lost some respect for Heupel tonight at the end. The conservative play calling was bad enough, but to put your players in that position late in the game is Bush League. Still love him, but bad look. That's exactly what BVD just said. Kind of a Bush League move to call that timeout. Ray for 5. So mad about everything in this game. Coaches are the most to blame in my opinion, but here's my money, support in victory and defeat. Ha go Vols. Appreciate that, Ray. That's what we're here for, is for you guys and ourselves. I promise you, I did not want to do this show, but it's therapeutic to do this show. It really, truly is. Noah for $10. Appreciate that. Joe was playing basketball. Them earthworks should count as receivers. We'd never lose with the Joe then. Given up on him. They opened the playbook. He screwed us. Horrible QB management accuracy. Thank you, Noah, for that. Philip Scow for 5. The second half adjustments were great, but that's when the refs got involved or not. On to UTSA. Will Murley for 2. I'm 18. Still haven't seen a win in the swamp. That hurts my spirit, man. That hurts my spirit. The Fragrance Ball for 5. I'm about to legally be able to drink this year and haven't seen the Vols win in the swamp. Guys, oh my gosh. I don't know if you're making me feel old or just breaking my soul.
Start early, bro.
Dirty Dodge for 2. Heupel should have changed quarterback at the second quarter. Man, we're going to talk about that. Don't worry. Little Spooky for 2. Good God, do they not trust Joe? Caleb Eddie for 5. Thank you for the super chat. Nothing to say, just a tip in the tip jar. John Goad for $20. That is not cheap. I've never missed a Tennessee game in 12 years of active duty so far, but I think I'm going to take the next couple of weeks off from football for my blood pressure. Effing pathetic and uninspired all across the board. Number one, thank you for your service. We appreciate all the men and women that serve this country. Come on, man. You'll calm down and you'll tune in. I believe in you, John. Don't give up on this team. Wayne for $10. Love y'all, but I'm ready for Nico. He's the future. Okay. Well, Joe ain't even the now. Give the kid the ball. Holy smokes, I can't wait to get into it. Charles for $20. Nothing to say, just a tip in the tip jar. Thank you, Charles Bodman. That is very generous. We appreciate it. Pecan for 10. Keep Joe for the season. We can't afford Nico to get hurt or lose redshirt status. He's not redshirting. That is not happening. Josh Apple's already confirmed it. Nico will not redshirt. I've been saying since this before the season, 7-5, optimistically 8-4. If we are lucky, Hooker spoiled us. Joe isn't Hooker. Thank you for the $10. Charles McFall for 5. I have tickets for Carolina. The only way I'll be enthused about driving up from Kennesaw, Georgia is if number 8 is starting. Sammy P for 2. Nico for starter. How come everybody that yelled and screamed at me for making a video that said, when is it time for Nico, now everybody's on the Nico train? Why is everybody on the Nico train right now? We're going to talk about it. Don't you worry. Will Murley for 2. Blindside block ended the game. That was a horrible call. Papa J for 5. BVD hype called timeout because Napier did. Our offensive tackle sucked the first half. Where was this defensive rush on the quarterback? Tyler for 5. Nothing to say. Just a tip in the tip jar. We appreciate that, my man. Real Hank for 2. Got to see Nico versus UTSA. We got Brady, KY4CQ for 5. UF played the best game they ever have. Never showed up. We never showed up. Let's focus on next week. Epic Eric for 10. This isn't on the coach. This is on the players. I understand how ruckus Florida can be, but even that in mind, the Vols played poorly last year. UGA game was better executed. T-Bird's sign shot for $40. That is not cheap. That is very generous. I love y'all. I'm devastated. Going to watch UFC now. Help us get through. I will watch the replay. We will be okay. Let's pause right there. I'm going to come back. You guys being very generous with the super chats. We're going to come back and hit every one of them. I promise you we're going to stay live all night long if we have to. Obviously, Coach, the hot topic's Joe Milton. You said he was a turd. Tell me what your thoughts were on Joe Milton. Week-by-week basis, Coach. We're not talking about Virginia. We're not talking about Austin Peay. We're not talking about 2021. What were your thoughts on Joe Milton tonight against the Florida Gators? Let me run down the stat line real quick. Even though, hey, don't all of a sudden think that stats are everything. I do not believe that. The stat line, 20 of 34, 287 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 horrendous interception. What were your thoughts on Joe?
I thought he lost the starting job. It's that simple. You know, I thought he lost that job. We all said it. Like I still wish it was so. Like nothing changed. Sorry, there technical difficulty. Nothing changed. I wanted Joe to win the job. Hey man, the way he stuck around, the way he stuck through that team, you know, we all wanted him to succeed, right? It's a great story. It still is a great story how he stuck around, but everything on this dang football field, to me, it's like holy ground, man. That the football field is magic. Like the rest of your life disappears when you're on it, right? It's all that matters. You're with your band of brothers, and you bleed with those guys. You sweat with those guys. You shed tears with those guys, and I just take it so dang seriously that position, that ultimate position of leadership on a football field, is really hallowed to me. And you have to earn that right all the time, every time. And Joe didn't earn that right, you know. And was Ollie Lane a turd today? Yeah, but the center and the quarterback work in synergy together, right? And was that synergy thrown off by Ollie Lane? Heck yeah. Was it thrown off by Milton? Heck yeah, it was thrown off by Milton. Milton was, guys, I've got, I don't know how many pages of notes on Milton here. 50 pages of notes on how he misread different route tree options. I promised you guys you were going to see stacked receivers this week, split receivers, motion receivers, misdirection out of this offense finally. We finally saw all that. We also saw a lot of misreads. I mean, if I'm just going to the last spot in the game I can think of. The 2-point conversion is an extremely obvious one, right? Squirrel White wide open on the hitch on the 2-point conversion right in front of his face as he was rolling out. It was painfully obvious, extremely quickly. And I hate to pull this, but Nico hits that pass 180% out of 100% of the time, all the time, every day, period. And Gator fans throwing Gators in the chat, you guys played like crap too. You guys look like a hot turd tonight too, right? It was one turd on top of a turd. So there's not a lot of smack to be talked there. And Georgia looked like a turd tonight too, and so did Alabama. And quite frankly, the whole SEC should be hanging their head, is the way I look at it, because they didn't look like the best conference out there. It looked like the Pac-12 would take the whole Southeastern Conference's soul right now to me. And that's a sad place to be in as a whole conference. So before you go throwing a Gators and a Go Dog, this whole conference looks like butt right now. There's no sugarcoating. Anyone tells themselves anything different is lying to themselves. So, yeah, we look like crap and we played like crap. Milton looked like crap tonight, and it was just one after the other. There were route trees on that last drive that he could have picked up a first down in. And we put ourselves in a bad position, or should I say, Joe put ourselves in another bad position by putting Heupel in a position where he had to take timeouts when we shouldn't have been taking timeouts. When we reloaded on 4th and 1 to run the same freaking play. We reloaded to run the same freaking play because Joe backed out of the play 3 times on that set before he popped back in. Like, what in the F are you doing, buddy? It was
in big, bold letters in my notes. What did I tell you, Coach, when we were doing a live stream before the season started, when I heard Josh Heupel stand at the podium and talk about situational football with Joe Milton? And that triggered me. And I went back to the Ole Miss game, and I said, we've got a 6-year senior, BVD, a 6th-year senior that you're going to throw out there, and we're talking weeks before the season starts. You're talking about situational football, and that's what he's struggling with. Overall tonight, I thought Joe played well as far as accuracy with the football, decision-making. Yes, he had a couple of bad throws, but as a 6-year senior, you're telling me that Nico's not ready, right? Nico's not ready, Boogie. Hey, I've heard it all week. I've heard all week long. Boogie, shut your mouth. You're an idiot. You're stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. And all I said was win. When is it time for the kid to get a shot? Situational football. Start of the 3rd quarter. Tennessee trailing 26-7. You got a lot of ground to make up, and you come out and you've got a 3rd and inches. You got 10 seconds on the play clock, and Joe Milton's calling a timeout. Heupel's sitting like, okay, let's go. Let's run the play. You got 10 seconds on the play clock to try to get something situated. And then later in that drive, 3rd and 7, same deal. Milton tries to check the play. No time left on the clock. Heupel has to call a timeout. And then what happened? What happened late in that game when Tennessee's down 2 scores and you're pressing because I've only got 1 timeout left? But I'm talking situational football. Overall, I thought as far as delivering the football, decision-making, I thought Joe was okay tonight. But BBD, what are your thoughts on Joe Milton and Nico?
First of all, let me preface what I'm about to say by saying I'm not a coach. I'm glad I'm not a coach, because if I was, I'd be going out of my mind right now like Coach Jay is. I don't take notes during the game, because if I did, I'd be going out of my mind like Boogie is right now. And I don't know if X is a coach or a note taker or whatever, but this dude's going out of his mind right now too. We all are. I did all my screaming and yelling during the game. My thoughts on Milton and Nico. Look, I really, and I said it during my stream tonight, I really, really, really want Joe to succeed. Not because I want him to succeed, and I've been saying I want him to succeed. Excuse me. I want him to succeed for 2 reasons. One, because he is a 6-year senior. Regardless of how shitty he may or may not have played tonight.
I got to get BBD to dial in his language on this channel. He just can't do it.
Yeah, sorry, man.
He can't do it. He just can't. We got kids that watch this channel, BBD. Dial it in.
Hear the word CHIC?
No, not on my channel. They don't. Dial it in.
Okay,
dial it in.
You got it. No problem. I got my poo-poo dialed in.
There you go.
Yeah.
I
done
threw you off
forgot
your
what I
train
was
of thought.
saying.
See what
Milton and
happens.
Nico. No, you're good. You're good. I got it reined in. I got to go in a second anyway. Uh, I share this room now. You guys know that. And the person that I share it with just got off work and he wants to come in here and relax. I get it.
Tell him to go somewhere
My
else.
thought.
We got business to attend to.
Well, actually, I actually did. But
So then we're
anyway,
good. Keep rolling.
Nico and Joe. What do I want to see? I didn't want to see Nico this year except in a mop-up duty because I wanted him to learn and learn and learn. But I think, honestly, truthfully, at this point, if we're going to compete for anything besides third place in the SEC East this year, it might take Nico. I don't know that Joe can get us to third place because right now Kentucky could beat us, South Carolina could beat us, Texas A&M could beat us. Hell, heck, Vandy could beat us. I don't know. What we saw out there tonight shouldn't surprise anybody, really. Tennessee fans like me and you, Boogie, and X and Jay that have been watching this series for the longest time. We preached it all week long. This ain't going to be a blowout. It ain't going to be a blowout. It almost was. Well, it was a blowout for Florida. So I don't know what I want as far as Joe and Nico goes. The one thing 100% sure that I don't want is Nico to get thrown out there when he's not ready and get hurt. That would be the worst possible scenario for all of us.
And that was my whole point with the video that I made that triggered everybody in the freaking entire state of Tennessee. I wasn't saying it's time for Nico. I was saying when is it time for Nico?
When is it time?
David Gator for $50. That is not cheap. He says, play the clip. We need it. Joe is the one. Nico isn't ready yet. Mark my words. This is on the coaches, refs. That's a whole other story. Well, I mean, David, when you drop a 50 spot, you ask for the clip. We'll play the clip.
Money isn't everything. It's the only thing. And everyone has a price for the $1 Million Man.
Appreciate that, David. That's a very generous super chat, my man. Thank you for that. X, what do you think? Like, and take this super chat into account here. He says Joe is the one. Nico's not ready. Do you think Nico's ready? When do you want to see Nico? Do you want to see Nico next week against UTSA and let's just ride with the kid, or do you say keep rolling with Joe? What'd you think of Joe's performance tonight?
Well, first off, with his performance is just from basically personally from how I felt about Joe is that he lost confidence in himself. He lost confidence in himself. Because it's like he was just so timid and so scared to hit the deep ball. And, we were preaching it, just the other night saying like, hey, do you want, Joe to hit these vertical routes? Do you want Joe to throw it deep or do you want to be conservative and like saying throw it to the side, saying gain about 4 or 5 yards, saying get a first down. But to me, I just saw Joe he lost his confidence. He looked very lost out there because like what you and Coach were just saying, when it comes to like game situations, that tonight was a prime example as like clock management and game on the line situations. When you're in critical moments like that, you have to be aware of what's going on because Josh Heupel's looking at Joe saying like, Joe, like, what are you doing? Like, come on, go ahead. Like you should know this by now. Like you guys were saying, he's a 6-year senior. This is nothing new to you. You're not a freshman. You're not a sophomore. You're a 6-year senior. You should know this by now. And then the fact too, now I don't understand what the whole when that happened, like, because I was giving Florida time to substitute their players. I mean, because I know like the ref, he kicked the ball and
What a
all that
disaster.
stuff.
Are you kidding me? What a disaster.
Yeah, it was. We'll get more into, like I said, the rest of stuff a little later. But just Joe's performance overall, like I said, he just looked lost. Looked like he lost confidence in himself. And as far as like going over into Nico, man, me personally, I just say just let Nico come out for UTSA. Let him get a few reps. Let him let him at least get a set in to let get his feet wet a little bit. And then we'll see who we're going to ride with. Like I said, we're going to ride with Nico for the rest of the way or just stick with Joe. But me personally, I would rather see Nico just to see what we're looking forward towards in the future and just see if we can compete with Texas A&M, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, and all the other, teams we have on our schedule.
Here's the deal, guys. We got 1,700 people watching live. You guys have a voice. You're being very generous with Super Chats. We're going to roll through a bunch of Super Chats, and we're going to come back and continue the conversation. BBD, do you need to bounce, or are you good?
Yeah, go ahead and read your super chats. Just let me say this before I go. Um, First of all, thanks for having me in here tonight. Honestly, the only reason I came in here tonight is because we lost. I love you. I love what you're doing on here. You know that we share everything together as far as collabs and stuff like that. So thank you for that. Um, Guys, I swear, I really, honestly, for the first time in a long time, I'm speechless. I am. I did not expect that tonight. I expected a tough game, but I really expected us to win a close one. I didn't expect us to come out and look that bad again. It's not. It's no longer an anomaly. It's a trend. We got to do something. Coach Jay, you're the coach in here. I'll come back at some point and watch this. Actually, I'm going to go in the living room and watch the rest of it. You tell us what we need to do. For the rest of you guys, Boogie X, have a great night. Try to have a great night. Have a great tomorrow. And above all else, above football, above everything else, be glad to be alive. We get to watch this, as
Amen.
you said, Boogie, shit show, a poop
Yeah.
show. We get to watch this, whether we love it or not. I thought I heard you say that at the beginning. Maybe I didn't.
Sometimes I get carried away too, BVD.
I dropped one, no
Yeah.
doubt. And hey, look, I dropped it. I don't know.
Turd show. There you go, Coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Late in the third quarter. Hey, listen, I said it. It is great to be a Tennessee Vol. I would rather be a Tennessee Vol than on a losing day than a Gator or a Georgia fan or anyone else. Man, it's always great to be a Tennessee Vol. We got the best fan base in the world. We're mad because we care. We're mad
How
because
many
Exactly.
people did you say we got watching
That's
right
it,
now,
man.
Boogie?
Almost
Yeah.
1,700 people watching live right
Yeah,
now.
1,700.
Okay,
Yeah.
1,700 people watching this right now, which is amazing. We don't know how many of those 1,700 are in a wheelchair, in a hospital, in a waterbed. You know, we don't know where these people are. So please, everybody, be thankful that you're alive. We get to do this whether our blood pressure's up or not. So I love you guys all to death. Hope you'll come around every Tennessee Volunteers channel on the internet, because we all deserve it, especially after going through a poo-poo show like tonight. And we're going to be catching grief all week, every one of us, on every
Hey,
platform.
I'm used to it, brother. We're used to it, right?
Well,
Like,
I am too, but you know.
We've been there, done that. Hey, we'll catch up on Monday, BVD. BVD will be back in the house on Monday morning stream,
Take care, BVD.
9 a.m. So come check
Love
that
you guys.
out.
Take care.
Have a good night, brother.
Take care, man.
Have a good
We got
one.
a bunch of super chats. Let me jam through these. We're very grateful for every person that drops a super chat or becomes a member. So we want to highlight your comments. Look, we have conversations off air all the time. Should we only read $10 and higher, $20? No, I don't care if you give $1 or $50. I want everybody to have a voice here. Landon for $5. The O-line was bad. Defense was bad. Refs were horrible. The entire team just completely gave up, in my opinion. Thank you, Landon. Parker Townsend for $5. What is the refs doing? What the F is Hype doing? The fragrance ball for $2. Screen pass on a 3rd and 9. Shaking my head. I felt like Heupel had a couple of calls tonight that were just give up. He just gave up. He's like, okay, we're not getting out of this. We'll just run it up the middle or whatever. Dustin Sellers for 10. Need to see more emotion on the sideline from leaders, coaches, and quarterback. Needed to play clean and did the opposite. Too much to overcome from a miserable first half. I agree with that, Dustin. Wayne Lowe for 2. We need an offensive leader bad. Thank you for the super chat. Caleb Eddy for 5. 85% on play calling. Joe isn't all to blame. We went deep and completed 3/4. One was probably pass interference, but I digress. OC out. Thank you for the super chat. I think it's funny that so many people that were so pissed and so triggered about me just casually bringing up Nico, now all of a sudden hate Joe Milton. It's crazy how people hate me because they're mad about something. It just blows my mind. We're going to talk a little bit more about Nico coming up here in just a second. Evan counts for $20. That is not cheap. Thank you, Evan. Is Butch still here? No tackling, running the ball on 3rd and 20. Pop passes to the sideline all game till 4 minutes in the game. Then we want to throw the ball. We'll be losing a ton of games this year like that. I don't lose in Florida. Gosh, I don't even know what direction to take this show. There's so many things I want to talk about. Realistic 1 for 6. We didn't expect them to go undefeated. Things are still on track for a good bowl game. Not college football playoff, but still decent bowl game. Still ahead of schedule in year 3. I'm just concerned, man. I'm concerned because I told you guys this one's circled on the calendar because you lose this game, it throws you off of where you're supposed to be going. Now, you can go lose to South Carolina. Did you watch their game today? You can go lose to Texas A&M. You can lose to Alabama, to Georgia. You can lose on the road to Kentucky. This makes things way more stressful moving forward. So many concerns. Oh, my gosh. But it's not the end of the world. Robert Clark's been a member of this channel for 15 months. Appreciate that support. David Franklin for $5. Entry fee. Why haven't all you volunteers on here bought your membership yet? I'll say it. Pay your $1 and support this channel. Well, shout out, David. I appreciate that. You guys like the content, the live streams, whatever it is. You can hit the join button down below. $1 is all we're asking. If you like what we do, hit that join button. You get custom Talkin VAWLS emojis, a power T beside your name. I try to highlight your comments. Sometimes nights like tonight when we've got 1,700 people watching, it gets a little difficult. But shout out, David. Appreciate the super chat and appreciate the plug. Jerry Miller for 10. O-line failed Joe. Defense caved in. The refs do not like us this year. Apparently, Joe did fairly good, but never took control. This loss can't be blamed on just one player. I think that's a fair statement, Jerry. RS for 10. Is it just me, or does it seem like Coach Hype isn't sure about Milton? Bing! Yes. He does not have confidence in Joe Milton like he had in Hendon Hooker. He doesn't. He doesn't, and that's part of it. We'll come back to it. Thank you for the super chat. Seth Brooks for 5. I've got my battered Vols syndrome. Man, it sucks to be a Vols fan. Sometimes we played bad. Refs weren't good either. I hate Florida. GBO. Dylan Elam for 5. Is this a bad time to remind everybody Boo Carter is watching Colorado beat the hell out of Colorado State?
Oh, man, Colorado State's so good, though.
Hey, they got into a fist fight, too, before the game. Dylan,
stupid.
Why are you trying to drag me through the mud even more? Will Murley for 2. Joe has trouble getting the play in and going fast. How much of that is on Cooper Mays, though? And we can get into that a little bit here in just a second, too. Jake Riggins, member for 28 months. Appreciate that support. Parker Townsend for 5. Humility is the fear of the Lord. Its wages are riches and honor and life. Proverbs 22:4. Parker's so upset.
Amen.
We're having church. We're having church service.
Amen.
I'm here for it, man.
Let the church preach. Amen.
It's my fault. It's my fault because I said it's a late game. Probably won't go to church tomorrow. And gosh, I hope our youth pastor isn't watching because he's a Florida fan. The fragrance ball for 2. Everyone wants Nico because Joe played like crap. Well, I said that last week and got called every name in the book. How do you say that? Jazz. For 5, thank you for the super chat. Been thanking Nico for starter since the Virginia game. GBO. Julian Belk for 5, watching from Santa Clarita. I believe this, the issue is a lack of leadership. It starts from the top, i.e. the coaches, to the players. Zach Hamilton for $1. Appreciate that. Derek Gilliland for 5. What is more embarrassing, 80 yards in penalties or the classless acts by coaches and players at the end? Tyler for 5. The refs were not going to let Tennessee play. That was horrible officiating and obvious cheating, in my opinion. Joel's in the house. What's up, brother? Hey, at least ticket prices will go down now, right? Always look to the bright side. No, Joel, that's not Joel. Oh, what are you doing with your life? Kevin Blackwell becomes a member. Appreciate that support, brother. Also, SBD Plaid for $20. I'm 44 and just so damn sick and tired of losing to Florida, no matter how good they are, how good we make them look in the case tonight. Just completely inexcusable and, dare I say, not plausible. Curse? No. Do you guys believe in curses?
Nah, not really.
We heard Jacob Warren get up there and say, we don't know, we don't think about it, we don't talk about it. But man, for us, the fans, like going into it, why was I so concerned? Tennessee favored by a touchdown. Tennessee's more talent. Tennessee better coaching. And all week long, I'm like, man, I feel like I'm going to throw up because I just don't have the confidence because it's been 20 years of misery in the swamp. I'm not saying I believe in curses, but sometimes I think the players do know what's going on. They are aware of how long it's been because everybody's talking about it.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, that still doesn't matter though. You still like they all were saying, like before this game, you still got to go out there and play no matter what.
Yeah, Kurt Schmerz, line up and play football, which by the way was a super chat before, which I mean we didn't really do, i.e. punt when you're supposed to punt, field goal when you're supposed to field goal. These are small little things that always put you in a position to win. Like you always just need to line up and play football correctly. Mm-hmm. And when you F around, you find out. That's like that. It's just that simple. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. And that's what we were doing tonight. Playing stupid games. So yeah, no. Do I believe in curses on football fields? No, I don't believe in curses on football field. Mm-mm. I've seen too much happen. I do want to do one thing real quick though, because I've seen 2 or 3 Vol fans from out here in Southern California in the chat, and just a quick shout out to you guys. Awesome to see other Southern California Vol fans out there in the chat. So I love that, and maybe you can catch me sometime if you're from the area. Then come see me in Rio Hondo League, and if you're from around here, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Do you think that sometimes Heupel's too aggressive, or that he's pressing? You know, you mentioned going forward on 4th down when you necessarily don't need to, or maybe you should take the points, or like we talked about last week. Why are you going forward on 4th and 1 from your own 30 or whatever it was? Just punt the football and go play defense, because the defense was playing good in that game.
Mm-hmm. I don't even know if this statement's true, but the cynic in me thinks that Coach might have been throwing Milton to the dogs a little bit so he could get to Nico.
Oh.
I mean, we'll find out, because when the other part of that symbiotic circle between the center, the gas pedal of this offense, right? We talk about the system that Tennessee runs. The center is the gas pedal, and the pace and the rhythm of this offense are everything. And the gas pedal is what controls that. So when we get the other part of that circle, that symbiotic circle between the center and them back, we'll truly find out the answer to that. Because if Mays comes back and Nico gets a nod right away, you'll have your answer to that cynical question then and there, in my humble opinion.
When we talk about Joe Milton, like you said, you thought he was a turd tonight. Like me, when I'm watching, I'm like, okay, he's on time, he's making decent throws, he didn't struggle with accuracy issues. What are you concerned about? Is it the game management? Is it just the speed, the leadership? Like something's missing with Joe. Last week it was accuracy. It was like it slapped you in the face. What bothered you tonight about
management and decision making, and small decision making when windows are small, fast, and quick, which they often are. Right when you have a split second. When that ball's got to come out for timing and rhythm reasons, right on time or not at all, or it's late, it was late. When there were obvious decisions, the early Squirrel White seam route for 28 yards early on that first touchdown drive, man, I'm going to beat my own drum a little bit. I think I called that play during the pregame on that first series. I might beat my drum a little bit on that play, but also the deep route to Brew. Right? Just an extremely obvious play. It was a broken, busted coverage that he got beaten on. And did he have some bad throws tonight? Yeah, sure. But just timing and rhythm. The play where he pulled back to throw the ball and hit Jalen Wright and fumbled it. I mean, we can talk about Jalen Wright and the spacing all you want. But to not understand he's that close to you and that you can't pull your arm back.
Yeah, that was embarrassing.
That's bad, dude. That's embarrassing. You nailed it. That's embarrassing. That's junior high school crap right there, man. I've coached college and pro kids who would have never made that decision in junior All-American and Pop Warner football. Never have made that decision. Never, ever.
Right, and then even just to get involved, and even just getting involved with the run game, man. Because there were, like saying the few, like I mean, I understand we're trying to establish the run game to get into rhythm, but there were some obvious plays where you saw the defensive line was getting ready to come in for the blitz, and you still handed it to Jabari Small or Jalen Wright. Like, read it, tug it out, and then just run to the side. Try to slide to get a first down. Do something. He just kept handing the ball off, and I'm just like, Joe, you see the blitz is coming in your face. Like, what are you doing? So that just really just aggravated me. Go ahead, Coach.
I was just going to say, I do think we did have a good victory tonight, and that was keeping Napier's job, because the guy is a crap coach.
Yes,
he's got zero scheme on the offensive passing, and if we did one thing right, we kept his job there for a little while longer than it should be.
Watch, I promise you. Look,
the Gators deserve better than Billy too. Let's be frank.
And listen, like they play Charlotte next game, but I promise you, they got Kentucky on the schedule the Saturday after. Watch Kentucky show up.
But God,
Watch
I
them
hate, I
show
hate
up.
playing this game. I hate playing this game because Florida sucks. And guess what? They just beat the piss out of Tennessee. They made Tennessee look like a joke, 29-16. Like,
Oh yeah, no, we look
game
like a
was never
turd.
in
There's
never in doubt.
no
Yeah.
sugarcoating it. You can't sugarcoat a turd.
And that's why, when we look at the schedule, I'll pull it up on the screen here. Look at the schedule moving forward, right? For me, I said you got to get out of September undefeated, or else it's going to be a long haul. You got South Carolina, which I thought if Tennessee beat Florida, they beat South Carolina. South Carolina played pretty solid against Georgia. I didn't watch the whole game, watch bits and pieces of it. Texas A&M, you can lose that game. At Alabama, at Kentucky, Georgia, obviously. Those are losses. Not all of them. Georgia, Alabama are losses. You can lose to Kentucky on the road. You can lose to Texas A&M. So, X, when we talk about Nico, what are we building for? Is this season over? A lot of people on Twitter, social media, which I know that's the worst of the worst, a lot of people are throwing their hands up. They're saying it's over. People in the chat right now are saying 7-5. If we're going to go out and go 7-5, play Nico this week. Why? What is the point? If you're going 7-5, why not get the kid ready for 2024?
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier too. Just get him ready for UTSA. Let it, like saying, get his feet wet a little bit. Let him get used to in-game reps, in-game with this offense. So, but yeah, man. Now, as far as like our whole season, like, no, I don't think our whole season because remember, guys,
I don't care.
from the beginning of this season, remember when we were doing our early predictions, like we looked at the schedule and we said, look, hey. Now, yes, I'm pissed off because yes, y'all know I despise Florida. There is no good Gator fans out there. But we all looked at that schedule and say, "Hey, you could lose that game, right?" So, okay, tonight's our first loss. Okay. And then your other two losses now it could be anybody. It could be Kentucky and then probably definitely, Georgia and Bama. So, okay, so there's your three losses. So overall, I mean, if you play Nico, like I said, after UTSA, there's still a possibility that you can go at least like 7 or 8 wins, if that. So, but no, as far as our season being over, no, I don't think so.
I got to hit a bunch. We got 52 super chats. Let me again. You guys have a voice. We're gonna hit them all. We're 47 minutes into this thing. If we got to stay live 3 hours, we're gonna stay live 3 hours because I want to talk a lot about the defense tonight because that's something we've been seeing as a strength. I want Coach Jay's opinion on the defense.
Yeah,
and we'll get into it. Rocky Top Tom for 5. It's the talk. Joe doesn't lose in Florida. Think about it. Talk, play calling, execution, play calling, especially the talk. Gee, there's no reason to drop.
Ducks don't pull trucks, Joe. Ducks don't pull trucks.
But Tom, I love you, brother. Dude, you're here every stream. You drop
Tom's
super
the
chats.
man.
You're a member. You come on the fan call in. You also were ready to string me up and crucify me because I said, when is it time for Nico? And now you're ready to put Nico in. So maybe somebody owes Boogie an apology. I would love for everybody that said how stupid I was that's now ready to bench Joe to say, Boogie, you were right. And please do this with a $100 super chat. You were right. And I was wrong. Thank you, Boogie, for bringing up the question of Nico. But if not, that's okay. I love you, Tom. I'm just busting your balls a little bit. Rolly season for 10. Joe wasn't terrible. Bunch of negaballs in here. O-line and D-line was atrocious. And refs wouldn't call a hold nor PI on Florida, but getting busy all day. Biggest takeaway, we miss Cooper Mays. That is huge. I mean, we barely the offensive line was awful. They were absolutely atrocious. And Ollie Lane getting blown up, and then Ollie Lane getting hit with a 15-yarder, immediately put on the bench. Dane Davis comes in. He was awful too. The tackles got whipped all night long. They got exposed. They got exposed. We asked the question, how tough was the competition that Tennessee played against going into this game? Virginia, Austin Peay, they weren't very good, and Tennessee's offensive line got exposed tonight.
And of course, not to be one of those people to say, "Oh, it's the refs this, the refs that." No, the refs had a slight play in it because, I mean, I'm sure all you guys seen it on your TV monitors or wherever he's watching the game. Just multiple holds. I mean, one on Dante Thornton, one on Aaron Beasley. I mean, and they were so obvious where they were literally just tugging. I mean, and I'm just like, ref, you ain't gonna call that. And like with Boogie, like I've read your tweet when you was on Twitter. It's like, yeah, look, call a hold. Don't.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, I get
Tennessee
it.
Tennessee played like crap, but a hold is a hold, X.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yes, I mean, we'll take our part in credit saying like, yes, we played like crap. Man, call the game like it's supposed to be called. I mean, and that's just in any sport. Look, if a foul is a foul, if a penalty is a penalty, man, just call it and just move on.
Yeah, it's exhausting. And you know, I hate it because when you lose and you come on and complain about officiating, oh, you're just blaming the refs. Just call
Right.
it, man. Tennessee played like crap, but just call the game straight. Dakota for 5, appreciate that. We need Nico, and I'm the biggest Joe fan there is out there. I've been following him since Michigan. UTSA will beat this team. Go Vols, GBO, not happening. UTSA is going to beat the brakes beat off of them. Will Murley for 2, Hadden squaring up was the most effort he gave. Oh, God. Was he involved in the fight? I didn't see that.
I don't know.
I didn't see that. Tilly for 5, is the wide receiver core a big problem?
No.
No.
No, I thought they had their best night of the year. To be frank with you,
Yeah.
I thought they beat Florida's wide receivers and terrible coverage really consistently. To be frank, if Joe had spotted them when they're open, which they were early and often. I mean, you saw it early with Squirrel. You saw it quite early and often. Just slow reads, or even worse than slow reads.
Yeah, and
Not
it was
seeing them at all. Showed this, yeah, good. I'll let you in sec X, but just wide open people and Joe just not seeing them. It was bad.
You're all in
Yeah,
on Nico, aren't you, Coach?
well-
all in. Like now.
Well,
right now.
yeah. Let me just say one thing real quick. Like,
Go ahead.
it could be worse with Joe. We could have Bam as quarterback, so it could be worse. It can always get worse, right?
I
Like,
mean, that
let's
is
just
true.
start there. Let's start there. But with that said, like, was Nick Saban sitting there going, "Oh, well, we can't start Bryce Young because he's a freshman and it's going to be hard on him, and oh no, what do we do?" And oh no, he didn't do any of that. No, he didn't do any of that. And like I said before, Nico's going to Nico, man. I'm not worried about Nico at all. The second we put in Nico is the second we're going to get more haters in the chat the next time we lose, because you get a lot of flack when you're over the target. And the reason we're getting a lot of hate is because we put it on a lot of people last year. So a lot of people ticked off, right? And you get a lot of flack when you're over the target. And enjoy it, Florida, right? TikTok. Nico ain't gonna lose in the swamp. About to
And
shake
also,
them off.
too, we'll see you in Neyland next season. I promise.
Yeah. Nico, I'm not worried about, guys. There's certain things I know in life, right? I know I got a beautiful wife who loves me. I know I got beautiful children. I know Southern California quarterbacks are killers. You don't believe me? Go ask Florida about Casey Clausen. Go ask anyone about Bryce and his Heisman first-round draft pick. Nico. The kid's a killer. When he gets his chance, he's gonna kill you. Rest assured.
And I was hoping
End of
you would
story.
say,
And I'd go with
I know
Nico.
Boogie's got my back always.
I know Boogie's got my back. I know X hates the Gators.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I got
yeah.
to jam through some super chats. We keep getting
Wait, no, we
derailed.
can't
All
just
right,
go
go
back.
ahead.
We just can't go back to Ollie Lane's a turd. Good. Crawford's a turd. Good.
So I wore
Sorry,
a
I'm
good shirt in this morning's video, and somebody's like, "Is that a Jocko Willink
Oh,
shirt?"
no.
I'm like, "It's just a golf
Sorry.
shirt, bro. Let's chill. Let's chill." All right. We're getting your opinions right now, guys. Still 1,500 people watching. Be patient with us. I want you guys to have a voice. That's what this channel is all about.
Yeah.
So whether you give $2 or $50, we're gonna read your comment. We're gonna cycle back around. We're gonna continue to talk about this Tennessee-Florida game, what the future looks like, what our expectations are. Dan Yoder for 5. Joe failed to manage this team. With Hennon, he always seemed in control. Joe looked like he was lost so many times. Man, I think that is it. I think that is a big – it's not necessarily accuracy or this or that. It's about being in control. Joe does not seem like he has control of this team. So I agree with you on that, Dan. Riggs for 2, bench, Milton and Hadden. A lot of people pissed at Kamal Hadden tonight. Christopher for 2, give us some hope, please. Good Lord, I don't think we've given you any hope yet other than maybe Nico. Joe for $10. Joe Milton 40% at fault. Refs, in my opinion, 60%. Joe looked better, but he is all talent, no IQ. Don't necessarily disagree with that. Wayne Lowe for 2. Nobody fears Milton's running ability. Riggs for 2. Quoting Coach here. Turd Fest. Thank you for the super chat. Oh, crap. Okay, I got it. Ray for 5. I can tell you are as mad and passionate about this as we all should all be, Coach Jay. I hate to see a young kid fail, but Joe Milton just can't get it done. Man, how things change. I got annihilated this week for that video, but now everybody wants to bench Joe. Ethan Maxwell becomes a member. Shout out, Ethan. You members of the channel, keep this thing rolling. We appreciate that. The Ultimate Challenger for 5 had an issue with Joe having a free play in the third quarter, and you only throw a 4-yard check down. Lots of situational football. Let's go back to that preseason talk. Seth Binkley for $20. That is not cheap. Appreciate that. Seriously can't wait for when we beat Florida in their house. I'm driving down to Gainesville and dropping oranges all over their dang campus so they can feel just a fraction of the pain I feel right now. And Seth, people question us for ripping down the goalpost after a win over Alabama after 15 years. You don't understand why? That's why. The pain that you feel right now, Seth, is why we ripped the goalpost down after 15 years against Bama. It sucks. Sometimes being a Tennessee fan sucks. That's why we're all here going through group therapy together. Rob for 5, why did they wait till the last few minutes to run the hurry-up offense? Defense and offense both off at many times. Changes need to be made ASAP. GBO. Ricky D for 5, Banana Joe does not have it between the ears. Finally see it. Joe got to go. Everybody agrees with me now after the game's over. Noah James for 2. Did y'all see that fan on the field? Yeah, what a moron. Dylan Elam for 5. Even if Hype didn't feel comfortable with Nico going in, no excuses put in. Gaston. Joe lost his job in the first drive of the third quarter. Didn't they score the first drive of the third quarter? Or was that the interception? I swear they scored the first drive of the third quarter. I've got to look because it's driving me nuts that he said that. What happened the first drive of the third quarter? And I don't remember what happened. I'm trying to find it in my notes because it's really bothering me.
I can't remember.
That's
either.
when they went for it on 4th and 7, and it hit McCoy. But I thought the DB made a nice play. I mean, he was covered up, but I don't understand what the problem was with that drive.
It was a little. The slant to Brew where it was tight and the coverage was tight. It was it was late. That was the problem. It was
Hot
late.
Rod for $10
on that tight slant. It's got to come out right away. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Hot Rod says first half defense was terrible, killed our momentum after we marched down the field and scored. I agree 100% with that. Jackson becomes a member of the channel. Shout out Jackson. Thank you, my friend. Nathaniel Hughes for 2. Unfreaking real. I'm speechless. Go Colorado Buffaloes. Oh, my gosh. Don't jump ship. Don't jump ship now. Craig J for 5. We got whipped on the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Nico is not going to fix that. The Edge dude. Good night, Mrs. Coach J. The Edge dude. Been a member for 8 months. We only get Florida one more year, right? Seth Laws for 2. Ollie Lane is not very good. Philip Scow for 5. This offensive line needs Cooper back. Britton Smith for 5. Can we just give Bruce some credit in all this negativity? They hit. Those back-to-back snags. That's the closest thing we have to 2021 Cedric Tillman. Brew played good football, and I love his physicality.
Because earlier when Coach went on his rant, I was trying to come back to that. Yes, the one wide receiver. No, you're good, Coach. The one good wide receiver that was actually competing out there was Brew McCoy.
I thought Squirrel played good. I wish Dante Thornton would have gone up and got that ball, and they called that out on the broadcast. Go up and make a play. Go make a football play. And then they had the balls to come back to him the next play, and he did make a great catch on that very next play. Jacob for 10. I think this coaching staff clearly does not trust Joe. We did not like the Austin Peay game plan, thinking it was just because they didn't show anything, but they came into this game with the same plan. Dakota for 2. Coach Jay, you need to put in an application at 10. Oh, my gosh. Coach Jay for head coach. Beauregard for 2. Joe is slow. Thank you for the super chat. Jeff Bucket for 10. Guys, the things you are all saying is what makes the difference between Tom Brady and Dak Prescott. Stats don't win. Leadership and timely play with consistency does. This has been what's missing with him. Yeah, it's a huge factor. It's a huge factor. I agree with you, Jeff. Tim Neal becomes a member of the channel. Thank you, Tim, for that. Alex Cole for 10. I love Joe. Good guy. But unfortunately, it felt like the moment was just too big for him. Did you guys feel the same way? Defense is concerning as well. Heartbreaking loss. It goes back to what Jeff just said. It's about leadership. It's about decision-making. It's about feeling like you are in control. I always feel anxious. Whereas a guy like Hendon, and I hate to keep comparing Joe to Hendon, but it is what it is. Hendon always felt like he lived up to these moments, right? This is what Hendon Hooker was put on this earth to do, is carry football teams. Yes, to take over in those moments. Joe, I just don't feel like has it. Nico? Maybe. Big Orange Mountain for 5. We don't lose another game in the regular season. If it comes true, do I get a lifetime membership? Sure, Big Orange Mountain. I would love to give you a $1 membership for the rest of your life. Harold for $5. Doesn't matter who is QB. This offensive line isn't up to par. The recruiting class is in jeopardy. We didn't get it together soon. Dan Yoder for $5. Remember that LSU was sitting where we were last year and turned it around. Never say never. I just am so full of doubt. X, how do you say that name?
QZ?
Perfect. For $5, I just got the nerve to start my new channel and take back everything I said in my first episode. I want Nico. Yeah, where are the rest of the apologies? Thank you for that. Alex Cole becomes a member. What's that name again, X?
QZ.
Also becomes a member. Elijah Coward becomes a member. Appreciate that. Guys, the memberships, man, it keeps this thing rolling. Mr. Still Your Girl, 55, becomes a member. Joshua Curtright becomes a member. Thank you for that. Mr. Still Your Girl upgrades his membership, so thank you for that. Matthew Frazier becomes a member of the channel. We appreciate it, guys. Thank you for all the members coming in. Who else we got? Donovan Upton becomes a member of the channel. Austin Byers becomes a member of the channel. Sean becomes a member. Chris Yu becomes a member. Thank you guys for that support. You do keep the lights paid around here. Riggs for 20 says, here's $20 because I was upset with the Nico talk. I realized I was wrong when Joe ran out of bounds on 4th down again, like he did against Ole Miss. It's Nico time, plain and simple. I was wrong. Thank you for the apology, Riggs. You're the only person, not only did you drop $20 to do it, probably the only person that will do it. All right, we're caught up on Super Chats. We're going to get this conversation back rolling. We still got 1,400 people watching. Guys, you can help us out by smashing the thumbs up and hitting that share button. It blasts this thing out on Twitter, Facebook. Let somebody know we're live. We would appreciate it. I know sometimes it gets painful when I'm just reading Super Chats, but I'm grateful. You guys are the reason why we can get on here and have these conversations. Now we're going to get back into it. I want to talk defense, Coach, because, again, I talked about the first half and the drives that Florida put together, and it kind of – Tennessee really never got a shot. So if you want to blame Joe, you want to blame receivers, you want to blame play calling, you can blame whatever you want to blame. Tennessee really never got a chance to get going in that first half because the defense was awful. They were on the field the entire time, piss poor tackling. Elijah Herring was lost at time. The secondary – I'm about done saying that they're going to get better. The secondary was terrible. What were your thoughts on the defense? Let's talk about the first half. Got a little different in the second half.
Sure. Yeah. No. It was a tale of two halves, and before I get into the first half, I thought the defense in the second half put up a good enough effort to put the offense in a position to win the game.
But devil's advocate, real quick on that comment, and then don't lose your train of thought.
Yeah.
Was it because Florida got conservative?
Like we've said on this channel many times, two things can be true.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think a portion of it was for that. But I also think Tennessee didn't get aggressive necessarily in the second half. I thought the adjustments were in different ways, and I don't want to get too off topic, but if you want, we can get back into it in a minute. Just going back to the first half really quick. Extremely conservative, and the biggest problem was I've never seen a Tim Banks defense look so lost at times. Like, they look lost, and here's the thing. Florida wasn't doing anything new. They were just running what they ran. Like, I talked before the game and was like, hey, Florida is going to do something different because they just, played the same thing. Nah. They just did what, Sunbelt Billy always does. The same old, 8 plays, 10 plays he always runs. Nothing exciting. But they played conservative, and I thought they gave up a really, a layup. X, when like a basketball player's running free and they got a layup and they just like totally missed the layup. That's how I kind of viewed it. Like it was just right in front of them. I mean, show and go was there. Mixed coverage variances were there. Penetration was there on the front four, but when you're not multiple in your variations, it doesn't really matter. You're just getting beat by base if that's the case. I mean, if every single team would go out there and just run base every single play, how bad are you going to beat that team? I mean, shoot, Boogie knows that from playing NCAA football, a freaking video game. If he goes out there in a video game and a team runs NCAA football 2014 4-3 defense every play, but you got to know how to beat that defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's just football, man. That's just football, right? It wasn't quantum physics. I just thought, Banks tried to lay up, and I thought he blew the layup by not, getting multiple and getting creative and pinning your ears back and giving Mertz a hard time. Were we getting hold across the front at times? Yeah, sure. But, excuses, guys. We all know about them, right? So we ain't going to sit here and make them. Certainly isn't the night for it. But I just thought it was an uninspired game plan in the first half. And it was kind of a disappointing. I thought Omari Thomas played one hell of a game, guys. One hell of a game in the middle. And I know he kind of got into that fist fight at the end a little bit. And yeah, that's a bad look. But I'll tell you what, when you're on the field and you're given 130%,
He
and
gave
you
his all for
got people
Tennessee.
around you shooting turds,
Mm.
and I want you to be emotional in that
And
situation.
then somebody
I'm
also
ticked
pushes
off
you
when
in the
you're
face.
not,
What do you do, coach?
Yeah.
If you just played 60 minutes
and
you
your
gave your
butt
all,
off.
and
Yeah.
somebody
butt off
pushes
for
you in the
nothing.
face, I'm gonna punch you back, man. I'm gonna fire back.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
Hey,
it's
man,
like
I
Josh
know.
Prey coming on here in the tailgate show. You gonna punch me? I'm gonna punch you back, and you won. You gave me the knockout blow.
But
X, what do you think about the defense tonight?
Well, like what Coach just said, during the second half, I mean, yeah, man, they played their butts off, man. I mean, you got to tip your hat to them. I mean, they can only do so much, and then, yeah, were they getting held and stuff? Especially, I know, like I said, again, everybody's seen it on TV where Aaron Beasley got held really, really good. I mean, like, it was just like 4K HD, like you could see it. I was just like, okay, ref, you're not going to call that. But then again, I was getting into excuses and all that, but, whatever. But yeah, Amari Thomas, man, like I said, got to tip your hat to him, man. He played his butt off, and then yeah, he got involved with that fist fight, and like you guys said, I mean, I would be pissed off too because it's like, look, I'm out here fighting, what I'm saying, for this win to grind to try to get us back into the game, and then nothing's just coming down the game plan. Now, as far as like the secondaries go, I've been saying it even back during the Austin P game. I don't know what Kamal Haddon is doing. Like, brother, you got to turn around. I get it that, like I was saying, you're trying to check your defender and you're also trying to look for the ball, but that's all you need to do, bro. Just turn that head, man. Like I said, look, just be careful with the PIs, man. It's just so yeah, definitely the secondary is a big concern. I mean, now it is because off season we were like, oh yeah, like we're gonna get better and stuff. No, it's still a concern. We got exposed in that area, but I mean, yeah. Then I just feel like saying, like we just couldn't get after Mertz. I have no idea. And then, like Coach was saying, Florida just ran the same play. It was either run up the middle or just run out to the side. Just that's all that they were doing. So, but overall, I think this defense will. I think the next game in UTSA will definitely light a fire up their butt. I think they're going to show out in the next game. But overall, I mean, they played their butts out, man.
I'm almost tired of saying they're going to do this and going to do that. Freaking prove it to me. Prove it to
Right.
me. I'm sick of
Right.
saying you're going to do something. Go do it.
Yeah.
Go do it. I'm
Yeah.
sick of freaking saying
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
can and you should and you will and you won't.
And hey, listen, like completely honest, coach's mentality, like, right? Hey, I put on my fan hat in here, but it is a coach. The first order of business is, like always, go in the film room. You know what I mean? Grade yourself, grade your players, and work like heck to be great, right? Like work like heck to be great. That's what you can do. You want to change the situation you're in. I don't care if you're playing darts or golf, heck, Boogie, we've talked about it, right? No matter what you're doing, go work at being great, right? What you got the quote on there that you play every time, right? Like a lot of people want to be great, and some people work to be great. The order of business is go work to be great. Someone asked if Kincaid Mays helped that. Heck yeah, Kincaid Mays helped that.
Cooper,
but
they've got you saying the wrong name now
sorry.
too.
Oh yeah, now they go.
Chat,
I'm a victim to the
chat
moment.
screwed you on that one.
They got me. They got me good. But yeah, no. Yeah, I won't get too far off topic. Continue.
Man, I was about to say something. You lofted me a big
I'm
alley oop, and I
sorry.
was about to dunk it home, and now you lost it. You lost
I'm
me.
sorry.
Man, I had a home run, and you lost me.
Yeah.
Well, let me hit super
Let's
chats
all
because
let's all blame Matt Begley for messing me up.
oh, I know what I was going to go
Gabe.
back to. It was off something what X was saying earlier with the defense and the secondary. The secondary, right? All offseason. They're going to be better. They're going to be better. They're going to take a step. They're going to take a step. I've been saying that all offseason. They're garbage. They're garbage. They were garbage last week. What did I say in the Austin P game? Something that concerned me in the second half was you're throwing the ball out to the sideline, and guys look lost. They're running around lost, taking piss poor angles. They can't tackle. You've got, man, I just felt like the secondary looked terrible tonight. Terrible at times, especially tackling. Tackling. The ETN touchdown that went for 60, 70, 80 yards, whatever it was. Freaking
Titty bumping.
Two guys. Kamal Haddon get up there and shouldered him, and then whoever was it Will Brooks at safety? I don't even know who was in at safety. Looked like a 3-year-old out there trying to make a tackle. Just embarrassing. The secondary looks like trash. So the same talk about Nico and Joe Milton. There's a lot of good, young, talented players in that secondary that need to start pushing. They need to start pushing, and if you can't get it done, go sit your butt on the bench, and we'll show you what the Tennessee standard is, and we'll get some guys in here that understand what giving your all for Tennessee means. Let me hit some more super chats. Got a bunch of you guys being generous. Rod for 5, nothing to say, just a tip in the tip jar. We appreciate that. Joe's been a member for 11 months. That game needs to be reviewed for the refs. Play calling was bad. Joe doesn't process well. We all had a chance to spot ourselves till the refs got involved. Everything always gets reviewed and sent to the league office, so don't worry about that. Josh Terry was losing Coach Golish a bigger deal than we expected. I would counter this by saying losing Hendon Hooker was the biggest problem. If Hendon Hooker was on this football team, we talked about this after Austin Peay. We're talking national championship. We're talking SEC championship. If Hendon Hooker was the quarterback, I don't think Golish is a biggest problem as some people are making it out to be. That's just my opinion. Josh Pickett for 10. I'd rather go 7-5 and 6-6 with a freshman and prepare for the future than keep this gimmick going. If he doesn't have faith in Joe, then why is he still playing? I'm sorry, but Hype needs to lead. We've also got the edge dude for 5. I hate that the defensive shift to pull offense off sides. Georgia did it too. GBO. I hate the defensive shift to pull offense offside. What does that mean? The defensive shift to pull the offense offside. Is he talking about the defensive line shifting?
When they pull at the last,
causing us to fire off false starts.
Everyone's trying to mimic it. Georgia kind of started it 2 years ago, and it's stupid. It's stupid when they do it. It's stupid when we do it.
Yeah.
Tim Neal for 2 says Joe is too soft. We kind of questioned his response to the media last week in getting offended when he is asked certain questions. I don't know if that's wrong. I'm not going to sit here and say Joe's soft, but I'm not going to say that you're wrong for that comment either. Alex for 5, you have to not lose the game before you can ever win the game. I mean, that's great advice.
And you have to not lose the game before you can ever win the game.
I mean, he's not wrong. Thank you for the super chat. Real Hank for 2. Boo Carter got something to think about now, unfortunately. Philip Scow for 5. Short-term loss, long-term game. I'm sure he's talking about Nico. Beauregard for 2. We still beat Bama even with Joe. Oh, Lord have mercy. Are you drunk? Are you drinking? Evan counts for 5. Is there any way for the officials to be disciplined in any way? All the tape will go to the league office. Josh Heupel will report it. Who knows what happens with it. Ricky D for 5. Mays practiced with the team all week. Why didn't he play? Sacrificial lamb still Vol tall with head covered. I think it's BS. I said that in the tailgate show. Everybody's talking about Cooper and being dressed, whether he's playing, whether he's not. Josh Heupel's always going to lie about injuries, always.
Let's talk about this. So let's say Cooper's really, 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 really hurt, and he's not back till October 25th.
Or is your name Tony Basilio?
No, but I'm just saying, if that's the case, I've seen in this chat a lot tonight.
So if I
say that Nico would have got whooped bad like Joe behind this offensive line tonight as well. I don't believe that personally. I mean, maybe it's because I've been closer with the kid. I know someone earlier in a comment too asked me, Coach, who would you take, Nico or Bryce? And I'm not necessarily going to sit here and answer that question because quite frankly, I kind of feel like I've been too close to him. If I've coached a kid personally, I'm not going to comment on a question like that. But I will say this: they're comparable, and it's a tough decision. So read into those lines however you want. I mean, because one of them's got a Heisman Trophy, and he went #1 in the draft. So I believe them to be comparable. Let's just put it like that and leave it like that. Go ahead, Boog. Sorry.
Let me keep jamming. Austin Bailey, member for 8 months. Appreciate all that support, brother. I think the defense is fine. I don't know what you can expect from them when they were out there the whole half. Hype needs to let Joe throw it deep or bench him. They were out there the whole half because they couldn't get off the field. Like that was my whole point. Florida had a 14-play drive. They came back and went 4 plays for 75 because ETN had the house call. Then they came right back for another 14-play drive. So they had 2 14-play drives that ate up an entire quarter, 15 minutes. That's not on Joe Milton and the offense. That's on the defense because they can't get off the field. That's why I feel like the first half – Florida, and credit where credit's due, man. Florida did a good job controlling the pace of the game. They did. You're out there for 2 14-play drives. It is what it is. Parker Townsend for 5. Boogie, I'm 23. Never seen the Vols do chit. He says chit. Win the F. Can we do something that matters? I'm tired of this chit. Vols for life. Parker, God bless you, brother. Let me just tell you this.
Listen, brother, I'm 28 years old, and I still haven't seen us win in the swamp. So I'm right there with you.
But Coach Jay just said it. I'd rather be a Tennessee fan and suffer through a loss than be a Florida fan and celebrate a victory. Don't go anywhere, Parker. I promise you. There's nothing like Vol Nation. Tyler Moore for 5. Thank you for the super chat. Evan Counts for 2. Hope this was our Carolina game from last year. Good Lord. So painful. Rocky Top Tom for 5. It wasn't that I want Nico. The talk from Joe absolutely 100% set us up. Believed in Joe. Mouth, Goonies, humble pie. Thanks, Tom. Love you, brother. Pit Boss for 5. Door fee, well, that went like it usually does. Joe got to go, period, and take Haddon with you. Haddon doesn't deserve to be a starter. Bench Joe and Haddon. Man, the fan base is pissed. Rolly season for 5. Haddon has been a liability since last year. In my opinion, start using more freshmen and sophomores on both sides to be ready for next year. I don't disagree. You got some young, talented corners that you can put out there. Parker Maxwell for 5. Just got back from the game. 40-plus more total yards. Lost by 2 scores. Pacing of the game, man. It really was a weird game. Seth Brooks for 5. That interception that Joe threw was pathetic. How do you make that bad of a decision and just chuck it like that? We were spoiled last year with Hooker. Horrible. Absolutely horrible.
And that was the thing. Like, when you got sacked, hold on to the ball. Just go down. Like, I mean, yeah, like, you don't want to sack or whatever, but it's better than just tossing it up in the air and letting it get intercepted, dude. Like, just go down, Joe.
Or horrible. UT Will for 2. Coach Jay, who you taking, Nico or Bryce? How is he muted?
You're
he's
muted.
muted.
I mean, I just answered it. Like I said, I really truly do feel like I've been too close to one of those kids to answer that question.
Answer that.
Yeah, but it like I said though, I do feel they're comparable, and I know people keep dropping in the chat that he's not ready.
How do they know? That's the thing. I read that all week long because I made the video saying, when is it time? And that's a fair question. That video, never did I say it's time to bench Joe. Never did I say that Joe's ready or that Nico's ready to go win a Heisman. How do you know that Nico's not ready? If you're not on that practice field, you're not a part of this football team, you have no clue. You're going with a narrative that freshmen can't start. That's it.
I'll tell you one thing, and you can find them out there. Go look them up. I won't get into them, but there's multiple videos where Coach P, who was the head coach for both of those players, talks about them and gives his opinion on this exact topic. And I'll defer to Coach P because he's been closer to Nico than I have directly, and been on the practice field and the game field every single game with him. But you can go out and search those videos out. I'm not going to speak for him. Nico's a baller, and he's tough. He comes from big boy football. He's everything you want in a quarterback, guys. He's calm. He's cool. He's collected. He can get out of bad situations very easily and either run and get a first down really easily or make an impossible throw really easily. And when he makes 90 yards throws, He hits them every time. He doesn't overthrow them. The kid makes smart, quick decisions. Good kid, brought up by a great family. We've talked about it a lot. I guarantee you he's not making statements like Joe made. I guarantee you he's not getting rattled in press conferences like Joe got rattled. The kid's a Fonz. He's cool. He's going to continue to be cool, and everyone can call him not ready all they want, and I'll accept their apologies later.
I'm still waiting on apologies, Coach, and I didn't even say it was Nico time. But
That's
guess
fair.
what's coming this week?
Yep.
Wink, wink. It's coming. Get ready, boys. Y'all going to be pissed at Boogie this week. Tennessee boy for 2. Joe doesn't lose in Florida. He gets blown out. Austin for 2. Honestly feels like they don't trust Joe at all. Man, that feels like a common theme and narrative that you guys seem to believe, and I don't know that you're wrong. I don't think that Coach Heupel has confidence in Milton. Evan for 2, the more we lose, the more money Boogie makes. Look, I would rather not be getting all these super chats and celebrating a win. And also, go check out the Alabama stream from last year because I would argue that point. Joshua Houston becomes a member of the channel. Appreciate that support, brother. Austin Byers for 5. Can't believe Joe decided to run on the 2-point conversion instead of hitting squirrel in the end zone. He's afraid to throw on the run, like Herbie said.
Coach touched on that too.
You knew he wasn't getting in the end zone on that, and he still just ran out of bounds. Like, throw the freaking ball, try to make a play. I don't get it. Parker Townsend for 2. You skipped my last super chat. I just read it. I don't think I missed anybody's super chat. I'm just going through them as they come through, guys. Shannon DeCannon for 20. I knew we were in trouble when we deferred. Bad decision, GBO. I don't know. We kind of debated this earlier in the week. What would you rather do? And if Tennessee comes out and gets a stop, you're feeling pretty good. And they did. Like, I don't know that that's a bad decision because Tennessee, they gave up a drive. Florida went down the field, but they missed a field goal. Nobody's hurt. Tennessee goes down and scores. You're up 7-0 right out of the gate, and you're getting the ball at the half. I don't think there's anything wrong with that decision.
No, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it.
T-Bird's sign shot for 20. Checking back in. Keep up the good work. The non-hold call on Dante was hideous. We shouldn't have let it come to that. But that was the exact play that X was referring to, where I was like, Tennessee's played like trash, but a hold is a hold. Please call it. Thank you for the $20. Very generous. Chase Burrell becomes a member of the channel. Thank you, Chase. Will Murley for 2. Do we have time to watch the Coach Josh Heupel press conference? I highly doubt it. We're almost an hour and a half in at this point.
I heard he was pissed, though.
Good. I hope he was.
Yeah, Coach Hype's a winner. He ain't going to accept failure. Like, I know. I know he won't. Go ahead.
Atomic Gas Man for 5. Loose, not tight, lose. What? Loose, not tight, lose. Opposite of winning. Just want to help my boys out. Oh, he's attacking people in the chat that don't know the difference between loose and lose. I got you, Gas Man. Brandon Hall for 10. Coach Jay said Southern Cal quarterbacks are fire, but isn't Nico from Hawaii?
Like like his lineage? Like, where's he? I mean, I'm Irish, but I'm from Southern California. I don't got buckles on my shoes, guys. So, I mean.
That's the best answer you could have ever given. That's hilarious.
Look, he
man.
He came up in Long Beach. He comes from a really good open weight system out of Long Beach as a young man. And he spent some time at Long Beach Poly, a very storied program, and moved over to Warren to follow Coach P from Cathedral to Warren, who, as we all know, him and the brilliant mind of Danny Hernandez helped, cultivate down there. And I heard from a friend that Bryce got really good at trying to beat really tricky blitz packages from a certain coach, not to be named, on this channel, tipping his cap. But he's Hawaiian, I guess. I don't know, man.
How do you answer that question?
That's hilarious.
I don't know.
Rob Baxter for 5. What about Gaston? He seems like he's solid from what I've seen. Give the guy a chance if Nico isn't ready. No, everybody's on Gaston.
It's Nico.
Because what Gaston Moore did in the orange and white game against third stringers, that's not the answer. It's Joe or Nico. Austin Bailey for 5. I think you have to tailor the offense to Joe's skill set. Take more shots. He's not Hendon. Take more shots. Squirrel needs the ball more. He's elite. Let's see. James Michael, member for 4 months. Appreciate that, brother. UTSA ain't no gimme. If they lose to UTSA, people are going to start questioning Josh Heupel at that point. Anarchy plays for 20. How has RDC been doing the same stuff for 3 years and still hasn't realized it's not working? Let's take a break from Super Chats. We got a bunch of them. We were talking a little bit about defense earlier. X, what are your thoughts on Tim Banks? 3 games into year 3 of the Josh Heupel era.
I know, like I said, like last season, everybody was spamming the, fire Tim Banks and, oh, he's not for us and this is and that, whatever. Now, after seeing, last night's performance, I do have a little bit of concerns. Yes, this is year 3 into the Josh Heupel era. And yeah, if you're still running schemes, that is obviously not working. And another key point too that we talked about before the season started, because remember we said that the most important thing for the defense to do is to get off on third downs. They have yet failed to do that in the Virginia game, in the Austin P game, and definitely in this game.
What were they tonight? Let me look. Hold on. Florida 7 of 14 on third downs, 50% on third downs.
Yeah, exactly. So now it's starting to kind of creep into my mind. It's like, okay, yeah, is Tim Banks kind of questionable at this point? Like, is he not scheming up something? I mean, is something going wrong? But I don't know, Coach Jay. Like I said, I'm gonna toss that one to you. What do you think that Tim Banks needs to do, or are you just gonna just kind of question him at this point with being in year 3?
I mean, where we've seen the most improvement is along the defensive line. So do you want to give that credit to Tim Banks, or do you want to give that to Coach Gardner? Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen our linebackers get a lot better, guys. I know we haven't talked into them, and I think it's taken Arian a little time to get used to all the weight he put on, because man, the kid put on like 36 pounds, right? But I think he's starting to settle in and understand the speed.
Did you think he played good tonight?
I thought he looked.
It.
I thought he looked way better tonight. There was a play where there was a play where his feet got crossed up and he got a little awkward and it hurt Tennessee. That Florida got a first down on a long third. But there were times when him and Beasley were filling at the exact same time. There was one play in the third or fourth quarter, I think the fourth, where you see the smile, right? Where Beasley and Arian both filled, one through front side gap on a pulling guard and one on backside through the backside gap on the filling guard. And when you get your linebackers doing that, man, it's so pretty. I thought those linebackers have gotten better. And is that Coach Marie? Or is that Coach Banks? Once again, it's open to discussion. I thought Beasley on the first drive, where Florida came up a little short and didn't get that field goal, I thought he changed that drive on that backside blitz against that pulling guard. We always talk about the film breakdown on that pulling guard on that counter, right, Boogie? And go back, watch that first series. Beasley put on a backside clinic on how to attack that pulling guard and still maintain gap integrity. I thought Beasley actually beyond that played an okay game, but that play was a stroke of brilliance by him. I think Banks played it too conservative tonight. He got caught sleeping at the wheel in the first half, and I thought he woke up and got multiple in the second half. But how are you going to get caught sleeping at the wheel in the first half in a game like that?
Were they playing a lot of – it seemed to me like they were getting after Mertz a little bit with the front four and seemed to be playing a lot of zone. But they couldn't get home. And then so when he extended plays, the secondary just broke down. And that's when I go back, is the secondary not good, or did Mertz have too much time because he extended plays with his feet, which I never expected. Never expected in this game.
No.
I mean, he did a little because the ends were – not squeezing down effectively at times, and the tackles were getting forced to end. And when you create that combination, it creates everyone getting moved inward, and the outside scramble becomes available. With the defense, they had moments tonight, right, in the second half, certainly, but the first half, Did we play zone? Yeah, we were in a ton of zone. Boogie, we also talk about, I hate to keep going back to that dang film breakdown, but we always talk about how when you go in motion, right? When
They know
the
exactly what
defense
you're doing.
doesn't go in motion with
Yeah.
them, you're in zone, right? If the man follows them, you're in man. There is no easier read for a quarterback to make than when you send someone in motion and no one follows him. But usually you bump shade outside, and the announcers even brought it up 2 or 3 times in that first half. Why is Tennessee not bumping out? Why are they not bump shading out and then having the defensive end on backside fly out and having your backside tackle also play 3 technique? I don't know, other than they were told to play base in the first half and stay at base. And that's the only answer I got was nickel base, cover 2 zone.
Which again
Sometimes
goes back
full
to
zone.
Tim Banks.
It goes back to Tim
Yeah,
Banks. Like
so,
I said,
no, the first half was sus. There's no 2 ways about it. And I've liked Tim Banks for the most part this year. I just want to be clear about that. Go ahead.
But again, it goes back to what we've said, Virginia and Austin Peay, right? And yeah, I get it. Florida comes out and had a couple of three and outs to start the second half, but I swear they went conservative, man. I don't think it was our defense as much as it was Florida going conservative. Chase Simmons becomes a member of the channel. Appreciate that, brother. Guys, we still have over 1,100 people watching. An hour and a half into this stream. It's almost midnight Eastern time. We appreciate you guys riding through this thing with us. If you want to be a part of the show, hit the join button down below. You can become a member of the channel. You get access to custom Talkin VAWLS emojis, fan call-in shows. We're going to have one tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Y'all get to come on here full of piss and vinegar and be who you are. Emotional, psychotic Tennessee fans. It will be, I started to say a good one. It'll probably be a bad one. But if you want to be a part of that, hit the join button down below. The more you give, the quicker you get on the show. But shout out Chase for the support. Checkered Cube is the name. Nico is the answer. Checkered Cube. I would have never got that. But thank you for the $2.
I didn't either. I tried.
Parker Townsend for 10 this season determinant. People transfer out next year. We lose our line of scrimmages. We lose our older secondary. Dylan Sampson could transfer. We lose our wide receivers. Does Mike Matthews stay? We lose our team. Our pets' heads are falling off. Holy
I was about to say,
smokes.
is the sky going to fall?
Good Lord,
I
listen,
better duck.
Parker, go right now. I think you
Read.
said you were young. I don't remember how old you are. Get in your car, as long as you've not been drinking. Drive to the gas station. Get yourself a 6-pack. Crack it open and let's chill.
Or better yet, brother, if I say, look, just get you some Wawa, get you some water.
Maybe he just needs to hydrate, X. Maybe he just needs to hydrate. Are we drinking the same generic brand of Laura Lynn purified water?
I'm drinking that Walmart brand, bro.
Okay, I got you. Parker, let's chill. Let's chill. I get it. We're all pissed off and upset, but let's pump the brakes on that, and let's see how the next few weeks play out. Seth Laws for 2. Omari called for targeting is horrible. Watch it. There were some bad calls in this game. Cameron Davis for 5. Coach Jay, what are your thoughts on Jalen McCullough? In my opinion, he's the biggest liability on defense and not a D1 caliber player. People have been saying that for years, and until you over-recruit him, Jalen McCullough just doesn't have the speed. He just doesn't have the speed to play safety in the SEC is what it boils down to.
You took the words out of my mouth. He's slow.
I think that's it.
He looks slow.
He's just slow. It's not that anything particular is glaring other than the fact that he's just slow. And you know what? In the SEC, you can't be slow. You just can't, right? It's going to kill you every time. Maybe in the Big 12 or something, Big 10, Big 12, you can be slow. But in the SEC, you can't be slow. So that's going to kill you every time.
Paul Lindsay for 10. Appreciate that, brother. Joe has already been benched by Hooker. He's been done before, and now it's time to move to the next. Nico is $1 million man. Let's talk about high pay versus low pay. Is it working as far as motivation? Jeff Puckett for 10. I thought we missed Peely to 2, especially early. Herring was waiting a step late, filling the gap. Also struggled getting off blocks. Settled in and played better later. By then, we were way behind. I agree with that. I thought Elijah Herring played probably his worst game of the year so far tonight. Joshua Houston for 5. We see Heupel struggling to trust Joe in his play calling. How much is the locker room after this game? Also, waiting on Nico now. Yeah, I think everybody, we talked enough about Nico. Knoxville Predator catcher for 10. I thought Joe played good besides the interception. Should have mixed up the run game more. Crucial penalties killed us. The O-line was terrible. Should have took the field goal on 4th down. Coach Jay was preaching about that earlier. Philip, member for 10 months. Appreciate that, brother. Vol calls could get heated. Did you guys, not to get derailed too much, but this is worth talking about. Did you guys see Nick Saban's response on their version of Vol calls, whatever it is? It's where they're at some restaurant and he's taking the phone calls from fans. Did you guys see it?
Mm-mm.
So
no, I didn't.
So it was
No,
it was after the loss. And the caller's name's Pee Wee. And it just says on the screen, caller Pee Wee, blah, blah, blah. And the guy, all he says is, Coach Saban, how you doing tonight? And he goes, well, Pee Wee, I've been waiting on your call. Because, you see, we're getting blown up in the middle of the line of scrimmage. We can't block. Everybody thinks it's only when they bring pressure, but that has nothing to do with it. We're getting killed on the interior. And I've really been sitting here all week long saying, I wish Pee Wee would call so he could tell me how we could get this fixed. And that poor guy was like, thanks, I guess. Have a good night. Like,
Yeah,
holy
thanks.
smokes.
Appreciate it.
Coach
That's
Saban can
funny.
say and do whatever he wants. He's untouchable. He can say whatever he wants. I just thought that was freaking hilarious. Side
Yeah,
note.
no, he can say whatever he wants as long as he's not saying it to a Miami Dolphins fan, I guess, is the only thing I guess I would say. But yeah, no.
Can you imagine if Coach Heupel said that though? Oh, we would be ripping him to shreds. Ripping him to shreds.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We definitely would be ripping him to shreds.
All right, back to
That's
Jam
funny,
and Super
though.
Chats, and then
Yeah.
we're going to wrap the show up with some final thoughts coming up here in just a second. James Fair for 5. Listen to the press conference. Players don't act like they want it enough. They said they weren't focused. They said that last week. How are you not focused going on the road to play the Gators in the swamp? That pisses me off. I don't. Again, Jay-Z. For 5. Peyton Manning was a freshman when he started. He wasn't bad. Maybe Nico is what we need. Evan counts for another 5. If you're not contributing to Spire Sports, you shouldn't be upset. Evan dropping the bomb on him. Wayne Stars for 5. Coach Hype said Nico is ready and at a high level. Do you believe Hype? I played that clip in my video that everybody said I was an idiot for. Thank you, Wayne. Appreciate that, brother. Parker for another 5. I didn't even talk chit. And I'm getting quote tweeted. Oh, my gosh, man. People have been quote tweeting me all night, and I didn't tweet much at all. So, yeah, Twitter's a wonderful place. Not really. Tennessee Vol 1 for 5. Best thing I've heard all night is Coach Jay's faith in Nico because I was starting to wonder about his development that Heupel wasn't sharing. This man knows. Trust him. I'm about to go all in because I trust Coach Jay. Austin for 5. Do they feel like they've won when they scored first and so fast? Sure seemed like they gave up after that. Like they had it in the bag. Charles Bodman for $10. Nothing to say, just a tip. We appreciate that, brother. Rolly Season for 2. With Florida, expect a 2-star quarterback to look like a Heisman. We should have been ready for it. Crawdad Watson for 5. When does Nico get the ball? Does this team still respect Milton? Casey Edwards for 10. I'm not making excuses, but I want to know how that was a blindside block and the 4th down where the ref kicked the ball. That crap is some of the most aggravating things that can happen to me. Yeah, that one. The ref kicking the ball blew my mind because they had no excuse. Heupel was pissed, and it's just like, tough luck. Tough luck. We kicked the ball. Good luck. Get over it. Nothing we can do about it.
And it gave time for Florida to substitute.
Yeah.
So
that was the whole thing. Like, what are we doing? Why are we substituting? Dalton Beeson for 10. Milton played good enough to win. Hard to throw the ball and develop routes when you have 1 second to throw the ball. When he had time, he delivered. Fred Hatler becomes a member of the channel. Appreciate that, Fred. Parker with another 5. Oh, my gosh. I drank a 24-pack? And I've never been more sober in my life. 23 years old, I'm going to church in the morning to pray for this team. I think you're going to be like Jelly Roll, hung over in a church pew, bro. 24-pack.
But
yep,
if I
go
could
hard or go home.
If I could just sneak this in, because I looked it up. Like I'm inherently always curious. I think I interrupted with you once for a referee like conference or meeting. I had to cut out to once when we were going to do a stream, but I looked it up. If the referee kicks a ball, he resets the ball. That's it. If you send in substitutions, so the correct thing for the refs to do in that situation would be to reset the ball, and when Florida subs in players, a flag should have been thrown on the dirt and the penalty should have been assessed. Period.
Wow.
Full stop.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
see, they acted like almost like
Not
Tennessee
bull
substitute,
crap.
right? They reset the
Yeah.
ball, and then they held Tennessee to allow Florida to substitute. And that, I mean, that. And I was texting JP, and he's like, "That's a terrible play call." And I'm like, "Well, I mean, my gosh, it was a disaster. It was a disaster." So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
a couple
Yeah.
more here. Culberson for 5. How does Joe react to getting benched a second time? I wouldn't be surprised if he checks out. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised if he hits the portal. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he ain't going nowhere. He's 48 years old. Like, he's done.
Mhm.
This is
Yeah.
it. This is your last call. That's why it's, man. If you're not going to focus now, you're never going to focus.
Right.
So I don't know. We'll see. Parker Townsend for 5. I consider that our present sufferings are not worth. Oh, he's reading more scripture.
More we get biblical tonight, baby.
He drank a 24-pack and dropped scripture all night. What is happening? I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. Romans 8:18. Thank you, Parker. Can I get an amen? We appreciate that, brother. Rob Baxter for 5. Fellas, what is the deal on Milton laughing, smiling, and dancing around when you're fixing to lose a game? He's just not the leader we need. I remember somebody questioning that going into this season, Roley season for 2. Napier must have used all that NIL to pay the refs off. All right, we are all caught up on Super Chats. X, final thoughts on Tennessee dropping 1 to Florida. What do you feel moving forward as we look at the schedule? Do your expectations, do your predictions, do they change for this football team in year 3?
I mean, they are really questionable in doubt for sure. I think, like I said, I'm gonna just be like you guys and the rest of the chat is saying. I'm just ready to see Nico at this point. I think tonight's game was a solid foundation to say, okay, I think it's time to see Nico. We've seen enough of Joe because, like I said, we've seen enough of him in this game. We saw a little bit of him in the previous season before Hendon Hooker took his job. So it's just time. I mean, it's just time. Just really pissed off. I really thought that this was the year that we break the losing streak in the swamp. But hopefully, like I said, Nico will go into the year 25, and hopefully he'll break that streak. But yeah, it's just time to see Nico. I'm ready for it. So yeah, now going forward, I think our season's not over. But it's just questionable at this point. But no, I say I'm still gonna ride and die, go Big Orange, and we'll go from there.
I like to hit a comment like this. Young Star 3. Can you hear me, brother? Am I coming into your earbuds loud and clear? LMAO. Florida sucks, and you guys lost to that terrible team. So what does that make Tennessee? Well, let me ask you, son. Let me ask you a question, son. You're on YouTube right now. Clearly you're not a Florida fan. You're not a Tennessee fan. But you're in the live chat of a bunch of Tennessee fans that are just having a good time talking about football, talking about their team losing, and trying to insult people. So what are you doing with your life? What are you going to wake up and do tomorrow? What do you do for a living? I've never met a successful person ever, not one time in my life, in the comments or the live chat of a YouTube channel, dropping hate on people that are just trying to have a good time. Just a bunch of regular dudes, a bunch of regular men and women in the chat voicing their opinions. But here you are, Young Star 3. LMAO, you say. You're laughing. You think you're funny. You think you're having a good time. What are you doing with your life, bro?
Oh, he said he's a Florida fan. That's what he said in the chat.
So Florida, what does that
That
make
makes
it
a
any
little
better?
more sense.
Oh, does it really
I
make
mean-
it any better? What are you doing with your life, bro? What are you going to do tomorrow? Are you happy? Are you celebrating the win? Are you looking for a friend on the internet? Are you so lonely and depressed and miserable that you're on the internet looking for a friend? I encourage you to find something that brings you joy in life.
All I can say is just
Go celebrate that.
And all I can say is just count the championships, brother. That's I'm gonna just leave it at that. Look at the history books.
I just always find it funny when I see somebody doing that on the internet. Real Hank for 2. Did Samson disappear after the first game?
Yes.
I wonder what's going on there, man. I don't know. That's something worth talking about. Parker Townsend for another 5. Not guys getting biblical. The only thing that's going to save the Vols. Thank you, Parker. Appreciate that, brother. All right, Coach. What are your final thoughts? Your expectations moving forward? What do you think?
I mean, I don't think the whole car has crashed into a tree, exploded, and caught fire. You know what I mean? I think that your gas pedal's broken, your key broke off in your ignition, and you better get your butt to the shop really quick and fix those 2 things, or your nice fancy car ain't gonna run very well. My number one questions moving forward. how hurt is Mays actually, right? That's number one. And number two, how much of the problems that Milton had does Heupel actually put on the 7-8 false starts that we had, and how much does he put on Joe's shoulders? Listen, Hype's a great offensive mind. Sorry, I can't talk. It's late. Offensive mind, and he's going to see all that on film. He's going to see everything we see and more. He's going to know all the little intricacies, and I've got a sneaking suspicion it was worse than what I saw on first watch, as far as recognition and control and keeping that offensive system moving from Joe's standpoint. Were we buying time to not put Nico in? When is Nico ready? Everyone keeps asking us, will Nico save us? All these questions. Hey, listen, I've been around Nico a little bit. I've been around some people hearing this and this. But here's the truth of it, guys. I trust Heupel. Heupel's been around him the last year. Heupel's been with him since he's been out of high school. I trust Heupel to do what's right with Nico. And hopefully that means he gets a nod, because I'd love to see him get that nod. And nothing's going to stop me from being a Volunteer fan. Let's get back to work. This is a long dang season. Let's shake this off. Let's knock the dust out. Everyone's got a plan though. You get punched in your face. We got punched in the face. What are you going to do? You're going to stay on the canvas, or you're going to pick your ass back up and fight. And I want to see this team pick their tails off the canvas and go throw some punches back. So let's get it. Go Big Orange and Volunteers for life. I love everyone in this chat. I love this community. I even love you haters. It fuels us all. And go Big Orange. Go
The
Big
haters
Orange.
pay the
That's
bills.
it.
The haters
That's
pay
right,
the bills.
baby.
Love 'em.
That's right.
I wish I knew this name. I'm just gonna roll with Jay-Z. Thank you for becoming a member of the channel. We appreciate that. Like I said, you guys can hit that join button down below. You can become a part of the family, or the cult, as some might say, because look, that's what we are. People say we're a family, a community. I use the word community a lot, but we're a cult. And you can go pick up our merchandise. We've even got a shirt that says cult member. You can go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. We appreciate any and every one of you that picks up our merch. If you've got the merch, tag me up on Twitter. I want to see it. Tag me at Boogie Bentley. I will retweet that. I would appreciate seeing that. Whether you're at Neyland Stadium, whether you're out on the offensive lines, the defensive lines, you're out there in the thick of things, we would love to see it. But again, bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. The links are in the description below as well. And again, quick plug for memberships. We got a big fan call-in show coming up tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. You guys, the members of the channel, get an opportunity to come on the show. That's what we did before the game. Tailgate show, same deal. We send the link out to usually Talkin VAWLS Elite and higher. So the more you give, the quicker you get on the show. But if you just got $1, you say you like the content, the live streams, the videos, the community aspect, whatever it is, for $1, man, just give $1, hit that join button. We would appreciate it. We're going to go to bed. We're going to sleep on it. We're going to wake up bright and early tomorrow. And I'm going to try to put some thoughts together with a little less emotion and talk about what this loss means day after video coming, probably 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. So make sure you come check that out. Then we've got the fan call-in show Monday morning. Eric Kane of VolQuest.com will be in the house 9 a.m. So make sure you tune in for that. Wednesday night, regular 7 p.m. show. Myself and the coach over there will be live on Friday morning, trying to get something positive for that UTSA game. The Real Hank for $2. What are we doing if Joe Trott's out there next game? A lot of people probably going to be booing. The same people that told me that I was an idiot for asking when it's Nico's time will probably be booing Joe Milton, because that's the way a lot of people in this fan base operate. But look, we're going to wrap it up. Almost 2 hours of a post-game show. You guys have been so generous. I'm grateful for that. Thank you guys for the way you support this channel. For the coach, for the X Factor, my name is Boogie Bentley. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. Go Big Orange.
The songs how like being poets at an arcade, soaking moonlit falls, unbroken past this updated orb that we call home, and it's night and I'm alone and